Elliot here, back with our first video of the new year. It's going to be our first 50 Zoom grind video. Yeah, this year got started a little bit slower than I would have liked, but that's okay. But yeah, we've got an upgraded laptop, back in the gym, so feeling good. For those of you who haven't been following, I'm now taking shots at 100 now, which has gone okay so far. We discuss it a bit more in this video. Also got a new poker coach, but for now, enjoy this video and please like and subscribe. Bye-bye. Hi guys, Elliot here, back with some more 50 Zoom action finally. I know it's been a long time since I made a video. I think almost 2 months or so, or 1.5 months. But yeah, we're back. Had some issues with the laptop. Basically completely ran out of space, which was like really slowing it down, and I couldn't save videos and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a nightmare, but yeah, is what it is. On the left, in these positions, I don't actually expect just to see enough of the bluff raises with hands like ace, deuce, 6x and stuff like that. So I think this is largely going to be weighted around 10x. Or value is what I'm trying to say, and 8 block 7/8, which isn't great also, which I think could be one of the main bluffs here. So we're actually just going to pitch this one. And versus the small bet king 9 of hearts, we're supposed to check raise these boards pretty aggressively, but I think without the suit matching the boards, I think we can just pitch that one. I think it's absolutely fine. Jack 10 off will open. I think ace 10 off's kind of close here on the left versus slightly smaller size. I prefer mixing it into a 4-bet than calling. I think we'll just pitch it. Again, relatively tight positions. I don't think people are finding enough 3-bets from the blinds versus early positions. So I think we can just pitch it. But yeah, so as some of you know, I've been shot in 100 NL, which has been good. Managed to get through 50 NL with an okay-ish win rate. Would have liked it to have been better. But a lot of that was from before when I was playing 50 and not really focusing on the game too much. Whereas obviously I put a lot of time in since. So the beauty now of having like a completely fresh database and all of that stuff is great actually, because I can sort of see where I'm at like once I've got a nice sample together and stuff like that. Ace 9 off heel, cool. So yeah, that's pretty good. A good thing, so we can sort of measure my progress a bit more exactly. Versus the range bet, I don't think we're folding any pairs here, so I think we will just call. And on the left, I think this hand can obviously check back quite a lot. But with the ace of clubs, I'm just going to overdo it and just overbet here. I think this is a line that prints, and the 5 is pretty good turn far range too. And then the plan here would just to be to bluff off on clubs, which we get there, which is great. Now, in terms of size, our flushes will go into a large size, so I think we can just overbet again here. I think that's really nice. He's going to have some 7x, but I think there are other weak hands in his range when he checks back flop, which he's really going to struggle to call here. 5-3 versus the overbet now, I think it's a clear fold. Could definitely have lots of bluffs there as well, though. But yeah, I was watching some Yuri Peleg videos, and this idea of not really like bluff catching too much, and sort of playing this like raise or fold strategy, pretty interesting. Very interesting, actually. Jack 6 is a fold, and pocket 6s on the left here. We can call sometimes, but I think it's just a pitch. We got, I think these guys are regs in the pool as well, so we'll just fold. But yeah, the 100 now shot's been going okay so far. Up a little bit after about 10k hands. Been making a few mistakes. There's always that sort of mental thing that you go through when you are moving up stakes, that you think everyone's a crusher, but that's obviously not the case. And obviously having that nice little leaderboard bink as well for $600, was it 400, something like that, was really helpful, especially when you're taking a shot. And the next day I actually won another leaderboard for like $200, which is really nice at 100 now. So we'll take it. So yeah, things are going pretty well at the moment. But now, yeah, a lot of my focus is just going to be on providing more content for you guys. I'm working with a new coach as well, who are going to get on the channel and discuss poker with him. And he's a guy who's been playing some high stakes, some of the high stakes available on the stars, which is pretty cool. 9-7's a fold. And King 9 again, we could exploitively start to do things, but I think we'll just pitch it. Again, I probably just prefer 4-betting than calling. But if his range is going to be pretty tight, which it will be, because people don't, like I said earlier, 3-bet enough from the blinds. A hand like King 9 is going to be completely dominated if we do call. So we can just fold it really easily. Some of these spots might seem really obvious to you guys, but it's just... like I said, it's more just the thought processes and making sure that we're playing as consciously as we can. Ace Queen suited will open. Queen 10 off. But yeah, been a pretty slow-ish start to the year. I was expecting to, yeah, sort of hit the ground running, but sometimes life stuff like that gets in the way, which isn't great, but it is what it is. But feeling pretty good now. Back in the gym. Going to start posting some of my workouts and body transformations on YouTube, which would be really cool for you guys to see. 9-7 is a hand that we can open. Pretty loose, but I think it's fine in pool. Again, you've got to think about where the EV of the open comes from here. So the EVs comes from these guys being too tight out of the blinds, which they are. Done a little bit of analysis in the 100 pool at least, not necessarily the 50 pool, but people are closest to 3-bet frequency button versus cutoff. And then in that scenario, you actually see people not 4-betting from the cutoff enough versus the button open. Yeah, especially like with the bluffs, which is, yeah, pretty interesting for sure. Ten deuce. I can see some of these guys here. Like Kovkin, I know he plays 100 as well. Queen 9-8, so we can check. I think betting small with range is probably just fine, because I don't think we just don't really get check raised enough. And this hand's got obviously pretty good equity. 8's fold. But I think we generally use a small size anyway. But again, not really going to do too much mixing. It's just more thinking about, yeah, like where our value is really coming from for the hand. So he calls pretty quickly. On the ace, it's obviously a pretty good card for our range, I'd say. I don't think he floats too much ace high other than 2 pairs. I think exploitatively, I just like betting super small again. Still getting called by some of that 9x and draws, which he should have quite a few of here, Jack X, stuff like that. But again, it's just because we're not going to get check raised enough that we can start to do that. And versus a short stack here, just bet small. Now ace-9 again, he calls pretty quickly. I think the hand's probably still worth a bet. Probably like a half pot bet. Not too concerned about flushes here. So we've still got worse 9x, obviously 10x. He's a weaker player, so I think maybe that we can just block here and try and get called by a worse 9x. Maybe a hand like pocket 8, something like that. Seems thin, but I think it's fine. And he folds. It's like playing against fish is one thing that I've been working on quite a lot with my coach. That's where the money comes from for the pros and the regs. Whereas sometimes I think, you know, we can get so into GTO and playing every spot well and stuff like this that we can sort of forget yeah, like where the money comes from, where the EV comes from. And I've watched quite a few poker podcasts as well, where a lot of like these guys have moved up the high stakes online. They actually all seem to sort of have this breakthrough when they realize or understand more where the EV comes from, where the money comes from, where those high win rates really, really come from. And I think that's something that is probably missed by the poker community in terms of like a lot of the content you see out there. Because now everything's so GTO heavy. You're seeing more exploitative stuff come out now, which is good. But yeah, it's always just worth bearing in mind like what you're actually doing. Always just making sure you're thinking like about the game, you know. Ace Queen 9. So I think in theory, multi-way, this hand definitely wants to check. If we bet small here, we're still going to get called by like aces, Queen X, stuff like that. I think getting check raise isn't ideal, so we'll just start with a check here. Obviously, don't need any protection really from a king either. Now I guess we just want to get to showdown. I think it's fine. And there's a 2-pair. Left was going to bet range. And now I think we can definitely bet for value. We're just going to overbet on the left. Going to be pretty hard for him to defend against. Has like pocket 8-7s, like we can all fold out. Even some 4x, he's got king X. We can start to put under pressure too. This guy looks pretty tight on the right, so we'll open jack deuce. And obviously having a 4 blocking ace 4, king 4, queen 4, that stuff's really nice too. And yeah, I think this is just fine. And this will be a triple barrel on the left. Ace king, and we get the fold through. It's very, very hard for him to defend properly, I think, on that board. I think we get more fold equity than required anyway, which is really nice. On the left here, gonna 4-bet the ace king, obviously. I think we can even jam some of the times in theory, but we'll 4-bet here, and I think we can make the sizing a bit bigger actually there, as we're a little bit deeper. Eight, 4, 9, 3. And yeah, hopefully this year too we'll play a bit more live poker as well. Online is just so much more convenient. You get more hands, stuff like that. But obviously there are benefits to online and live. 9, 5, 9, 7. So we'll see. So I'm probably going to play 50 zoom still, almost every day, just for the leaderboards. Think it's just worth it. Think it's plus EV. And hopefully, yeah, we can sort of get an up-to-date sample of where I'm really at 50 zoom. So you guys, when you watch, at least you know that you're sort of talking or listening to somebody who's a winner in the pool. I think that's pretty important. I think it's important to make sure that that's transparent as well. We're going to 4-bet to a slightly larger size here. Usually we go to about 19, but I think we can probably go to 21. We'll go a bit bigger actually. Ace king 3-bet. Okay, here, so he calls. We've got the ace of diamonds, which is nice. I think I prefer betting here. I imagine it checks some of the time, but I think betting is fine. He can probably have queens. That's about it here. I think he's going to struggle quite a lot. Ace queen hands like that. On the left, we're just going to jam. So we've still got queen X, stuff like that. With the ace of diamonds, I like betting because I think we can call off a jam here. I think half pot's fine. Yeah, I think this hand's still good enough to stack off with. Not too sure about the turn sizing there. He picks up pocket tens. In theory he does, but again, it's just whether he's sort of three betting enough, wide enough versus EP. I'm not sure what the correct three bet frequency is there. Maybe like 6%, 7%. But some of these guys will have like 1-2% three bet versus EP from MP, which is always just important to sort of keep in mind when you're trying to, target certain ranges or think about the hands that they actually have. It's very easy again to put them on this like GTO range when in reality they're missing like half of those hands. Oh, we've got the ace king through on the left as well. Nice. Yeah, what's good? Yeah, it's nice to be able to record these without the computer being super laggy. I don't want to jinx it, obviously, but it seems like we are okay for now. Seems like we're okay for now. This is pretty good. A6 diamonds open. When I opened up the Zoom tables, the guy on the top of the list was called Arse Eater. I wanted to play a few hands against him for the video, but can't find him. But definitely sounds like my type of guy. A6 diamonds. We're just going to range bet here. I imagine this hand probably mix check as well at frequency, but I think it's fine. I mean, in terms of the range bets, people definitely play better against it than they did maybe like a couple years ago. But I think it's still pretty profitable. Because the mixed strategies can start to get a lot more complicated. And if you're making more mistakes, while in theory, it's good if you get your frequencies right and stuff like that. In reality, it's just very hard to implement, and it just takes a lot of time to study. But I guess eventually you'll move away from a range bet strat into something a bit more complex. But I think that comes as you move up the stakes, because the simplified strategies still work really nicely in the micro stakes, like 50 and 25 and stuff. Jack 10 6 mono. So we've got loads of flush draws here. I think he's probably. Let's bet this. So when these players check back, this guy's playing 22-17. I would assume that their check back range is pretty capped here. Okay. Now on the ace, I think we check back, but I wouldn't mind barreling. So I don't actually think he has much spade X in this line. I think I might check raise this one. Okay, he's gone for overbet. I still want to check raise. Maybe we can some of the time here. I'm not too sure. But when he overbets, I'm just going to just give him the benefit of the doubt and just say he's got it. Close one. Not too sure. Checks back flop. Cool. Check. Overbets river. I guess we're kind of capped there too, to some extent. I think I'll check that one out after. I'm not too sure. Often when a hand gets stuck in my mind, it's like my body telling me that I might have played the hand incorrectly. But let's see, it could be fine. I guess Queen 10, I mean, we've got loads of flushes in that line as well. So I think maybe it's just more thinking about where our bluffs are going to come from. and whether we even want to bluff versus an overbet size here. See if we can find it. Okay, so flop. We'll just open 10-4 suited here. Doesn't look like these guys are 3-betting too much. Range bet top left. And here, okay, say that get punished. So I think that I think the flop bet's fine with the 10. Needs to still get called by worse and needs protection. This guy min raises flop. We're not folding. Question is whether we want a 3-bet. I don't know what the min raise means. I think actually it's like raising here again. 10-7 will call. This is our board. You really shouldn't have queens or jacks here at all. 10-7, I guess multi-way. We'll just check again. Pretty interesting turn. Obviously, King 10 gets there. I just don't think he would ever min raise King 10. I don't think that makes too much sense. We beat all of his sets now. When he checks back, I think it sounds good enough to bet. I think B75 will be the size. If he check raises now, it's actually pretty nasty. I think we call here. And that is a lovely ripper. Now we just jam. I think he can have sets himself here. I mean, I'm just going to put him directly on King 10. I just don't think he min raised it. Maybe he's got boats here as well. Like sets. Don't think he's got much Jack X. So I'm going to say we get called by pocket fours here. Fold versus the overbet on the right. Doesn't feel like he's weak at all. Yeah, interesting one. Not sure what to make of that. 4-5 isn't open. And we'll wrap this up. Try and make these like 20-25 minutes. I know people struggle these days to pay attention for like more than, I think 40 seconds is what I heard in the podcast, which is pretty interesting. Ace Jack off, we can 3-bet. And we'll be folding to further action. I'm going to quickly go back to this Queen 10 hand as well. I think when the tables close, we'll start with a bet here on the right. And he folds. Yeah, I think at 100, I'm sort of mixing up the strategy a bit more. But at these stakes, I think the range bet's pretty nice. I've seen guys use a few different strategies on the flop textures and different flop textures, which is good. But yeah, I just really think simplifying is best and just finding the spots that are most plus EV and really letting like your opponents make like the most mistakes. I think that's the way to do it. Now Queen 10. So he opens, we call, goes check, check. Check, we bet half pot. So my thinking here was that we can still get called by worse. He's going to have hands like pocket eights, pocket nines with a spade that he's going to call. Obviously, he's still got some jack X, hands like ace king with a spade, all this stuff. But a lot of his higher equity hands, I do really expect him to barrel. So when he checks back and calls, like, yeah, I think it just weights him slightly more towards like mediocre hands for sure. And nothing like super, super strong, unless maybe he could even be like slow playing the nuts or something like that. So he calls. I think pretty standard so far. We could probably check this back some of the time too, but I think betting's fine. Turn is an ace of spades, which is interesting. Now that removes a lot of those obviously suited ace of spades combos out of his range. So those nut flushes he couldn't have had really on the flop now. Question is whether we bet, and do we beat enough if we start to check? So when he checks, I think Queen 10 really just wants to check now. The equity of the hand has obviously gone down massively on the ace. Whether we barrel again to get him off a hand like a jack, something like that, might make some sense, but I think it might just be overdoing it with Queen 10 here. And yeah, we've still got, showdown against hands like pocket pairs, out with spades, stuff like that. So I think it's fine. Then on the 7, he overbets. So if he checked, I think I actually would have bet Queen 10 here, because I don't think that we do have that much showdown value when we can fold him off a hand like, like Jack X, maybe better 10X, stuff like that, although there's not too much of it. But equally, I can see the arguments for checking. But here, when he raises, overbets even, it feels pretty closer than it is. I mean, the guys seem pretty tight, and overbets are usually pretty nutted here. I don't think it's a very attractive spot to bluff in for sure. But yeah, I was just thinking, with the queen of diamonds, we block things like king of spades, queen of diamonds. Same with the 10. So maybe it wouldn't be that bad a bluff raise. And I think it's a spot where he basically folds range, other than like the eternal nuts here. So maybe exploitively, that's something that we could have done. But yeah, I think that's fine. I'll quickly just flick up the results for today. I've just been playing the leaderboard for like the past few days. Let me see if I can drag my poker tracker across. Okay, so this is all dates. Okay, so we played 1,500 hands. Up a few binds. Hopefully we're running over EV as well. That's always pretty nice. Nice, okay. So the red line's going in the right direction. Green line and the yellow line. Yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed. We're going to start hitting it hard now, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers, bye-bye.